Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We are on day two. We're going deeper with every conversation we have, and of course, talking about this idea of activating and optimizing through disciplined practice the mind, body, spirit aspects of the self. What are those practices, whether it's meditation or breath work or more, weightlifting, actually do on a day in and day out basis with discipline, so that we're able to really begin to embody that new identity that we started to open up to and create A1. So I'm excited to have a brother, soul brother here, Matt Belair. We met in Egypt, I want to say 2016. So it's been a minute. Matt's a high coach, and he's going to be talking about accessing, exploring the potential within. So Matt, brother, thank you so much for being here, and I'm super excited to, hear from you, hear what genius you have to share with today. So welcome.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. I'm glad to be here, and just love everything you do. So yeah, man, it's great to be connected. Egypt was amazing. We were just exploring, right, the inner and outer worlds and all the mysteries that lie there. And we both want the same thing, where we want to live beautiful lives, but we also want to help people make this planet a better place. You know what I mean? So you're doing great work.
Thanks, brother. Likewise. And I can't wait to circle back afterwards and hear everything you're up to in the world and connect with you. But right now, I want you to go into, I'll let you kind of take it away. Like, how do we actually test and explore that potential?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And I think I can summarize it in a short way with a few stories. So I feel like when I first started getting into peak performance, sports psychology, manifestation, and all the weird stuff that you get into, the weirdest of the weird, can we, move objects, telekinesis? Can we have spontaneous healing? What are the limits to human potential? So many people were talking about the law of attraction and all of these different ideas, but very few were talking about how to get clear on what you actually wanted. Because people would just say money, but what does money bring you, right? What is the actual result of money? We want enough money so we have safety and security. But if you have unlimited money, that's not just the thing we want. Maybe we want to travel, maybe we want to explore, maybe we want to pay for different experiences. So getting very clear on that is so key. And there's very little training on that. And so there's a lot of training on how to get there, very little on how to get clear. And one of the most powerful things that I've observed or tried to help my clients with over years is getting crystal clear. And the problem is, when you ask a regular person, what is it that you want? What is most important to you? If you had $1 million forever, what would you do if you couldn't fail? The mind is very logical and is designed to keep you safe. So if you say, this is my ultimate dream, is to be a musician and teach kids music and inspire through all these different ways, what happens when I ask that question is the conscious mind is up and it goes, oh, I'm not going to answer it exactly truthfully because I don't want to die. And for me to survive, I need money. And your stupid ass dream is not going to give me any money. So I'm not going to let you answer this realistically or truthfully and authentically, because I can't see how you'd make money. My limited conscious brain can't see that. So I'm going to keep you safe by saying, oh, I want this career in music that's cushy and whatever the case is, right? So I had one client, one friend that was so analytical, I knew that there's no way he's going to give me a good answer. So I've studied hypnosis, and really it's just helping people relax their mind because they don't know how. Most people have never tried. They've never considered it. They don't know how to quiet the inner voice. And it's basically a guided meditation. So I just put him into a guided meditation, asked him to connect to his heart. And then I asked him the questions. What would you do if you couldn't fail? What's most important to you? What does your ultimate dream life look like? If you had everything you wanted in a year, what would that look like? If you could learn anything? I just asked him the series of questions, right? And he started crying in the middle of this experience. And so I've kind of called it like the quantum heart hypnosis. And what it does is it just helps you quiet the critical factor so you can ask these authentic questions, get clear on who you really are, right? And then move forward. Because if your dream, if who you are is so inspiring, so aligned, so meaningful to you, no matter what obstacle you'll face, you'll get over it. You'll get through it somehow. If you're only kind of half on the fence, the first obstacle, you're going to stop, right? Okay, I'm going to give up too hard because you don't care. It's not aligned with who you are. So that is the most critical thing you can do. Then the second step which is essentially visualization. Dr. Joe Dispenza has really popularized this with his work with people having spontaneous healings, changing their lives. In sports performance, we know visualization really amplifies performance. There's study after study that shows that. So now we can really get clear on that image that we want to visualize, that we want to match the vibration of and law of attraction speak, or that we want to encode it in the brain, because now we know that when you visualize something, it can encode new neural pathways in the brain. So you can have a neuroplasticity. And this is all done through visualization. And there's an amazing story that I like to share in Yogananda's book. Yogananda wrote a book called The Autobiography of a Yogi. A lot of people know what that book is. It's an incredible book about a man who wanted to become a yogi, and it talks about his life experience in achieving that. But he wrote another book called Scientific Affirmations, and he shares why we do not achieve what we want. And he says, we live in an electromagnetic universe. So let's say you want a job that's more inspiring with great people. So you say, dear Lord, may I have this job that has great people, and, whatever you've kind of lined up for yourself. Or I'd like to make money passively in the fitness industry and help people do this, whatever your thing is. So when you say that, let's say you're measuring it to the universe, it might measure on like 1 or 0.5 on the electromagnetic scale. There's no energy, there's no will, there's no force, there's no electrical pulse, and we're in the electromagnetic field. And Dr. Joe Dispenza says your thoughts are the electrical signal to the quantum field, and your emotions are the magnetic, right? So if you were to measure those, they'd be very, very tiny. So you go, what if you see these stories where the mother's baby is trapped under the car? She goes up to that car, and she doesn't think about how much she can squat, how much she can deadlift, if she stretched, if you know what I mean. She grabs the car and picks the damn thing up, because every fiber of her being is in alignment. Every ounce, there's not one shred of any part of that mother that is not deciding with all of her will to pick the thing up. And it happens. And it's happened several times in history that we have recorded, and other things of like this direct, intense, sheer will. Imagine that level of energy, of electromagnetism, or whatever force that is, versus, I have a happy life and I'm, now a millionaire helping other people, right? They're not even the same stratosphere. So when you go into the idea of whether you do journaling, whether you use the quantum heart, whether you do whatever you need to do to get clear on a meaningful vision, then in your visualization and your affirmations, add that level of intensity of will, and you're willing to do anything, your results will be inevitable. Over a long enough period of time, your results will be inevitable. And just like a pro athlete, which I'm familiar working with, if you want to be in the Olympics, it's like a 20-year journey or a 15-year journey, usually, right? It's a long time. So you better be aligned. And as you do it day in and day out, your success will be inevitable if you stay on the tracks. And maybe you don't even get a gold medal. So you place third, you win a bronze medal, you loved it, you enjoyed the entire process, you're whole, happy, and complete in the whole thing, and your life is beautiful, because then you start training people in this different thing. You've got a great family, all the stuff that's most important to you exists, and you use your power of visualization for that, because that's just one aspect of who you are. Our goals are just one tiny aspect of life. We have relationship, we have all these different modalities and mysteries and things to enjoy. And so our goals are just one thing that really pushes us forward. So if we use that strategy or that tactic as we go to achieve our goals, but we also surrender to the result, we're really living in a very powerful and very aligned and very purposeful way, where we're interacting with life, with God, and then we're seeking feedback for how we adjust and refine that journey.
So good, Matt. Is there so you mentioned the what is it, the quantum heart?
Yeah.
Can you a bit more to that? It'd be a tool per se, right? That people could actually, begin to become the embodiment of this new version of themselves.
Yeah, 100%. So again, like when I coached so many different clients, it was always the same issue. When they would tell me what they wanted, I knew they couldn't find alignment because they're just unfamiliar with that process. Like I said, I was a little bit different and went through journaling, and so it was easy for me, and I kind of have it as a part of my practice. So because the conscious mind is so challenging to get around because the way it's set up, right? We look both ways when we cross the street. It's just designed to keep us safe, right? And so from that same level of consciousness, you cannot get the same level of a really authentic answer to the depths of who you really are. And so all this process does is it relax you, right, into a deep state where the consciousness now shuts off. In hypnosis, they call it the critical factor, right? If I say, you're a millionaire and you're not, the critical factor goes, no, I'm not. You know, it's like if you have a strong, healthy body, but you're out of shape, and it goes, no, I'm not. It's like, but if you get past the critical factor and say, you know, I am building a strong and healthy body, I have it. Now, all of a sudden, that conscious mind shut off, and you can now imagine that, you can feel it, you can move into that experience. And so the quantum heart hypnosis is simply just that, shutting down the critical factor, connecting to your heart, using prayer, using meditation, using relaxation, and using your own will to say, who am I? What is most important to me? Who do I want to be here? What do I want to leave as a legacy, as an impact, right? You get to feel that true answer vibrate through your entire body, because that conscious mind got to take a break, right? Sit back and you feel it. And now you might not have the end result. Like, you know, with most people say, you know, if you could do anything, what would you do? Or, you know, they'll go, well, I don't even know if they're going north, east, south, or west. If you're on a ship in the ocean, right? They have no idea. So like, oh, you know what? I'm starting with north. Amazing. You don't know exactly if it's northeast, northwest, right? If it's 360 degrees on a dial, as you move forward and you re-engage with the process, you'll go from north. Oh, actually, it's northeast. Actually, you know what? It's 342.1 degrees this way. Amazing. And over time, it just refines and refines and refines on a daily basis, just like a boat correcting its steering each and every day, one little notch at a time, right? So that alignment allows us to then engage with the conscious mind and all the tools of peak performance: goal setting, planning, organization, flow state, all these different things, dedication. And we just do that little bit at a time, and then we reflect and we come back. And then we use the work of all these people have given great research on the power of visualization and Dr. Joe, and live into that, right? Matching that vibration. Oh, this is, I'm a world champion, or my business is helping people do this and this and this, right? And so you feel into that, and that's going to accelerate your process greatly, but you're going to be willing to get over every hurdle because it's so meaningful to you. And that's the point. It's got to be so meaningful to you that you're willing to do anything for it. And even if you get to stage 1, it might refine into stage 2. It's that direction, right? And if you're a ship on the ocean, each new experience is going to cause you to refine and reflect on where you're going. And then you can detour. And then that will be the next most important step, and use the exact same tools, right? And so one example I'll give is this guy reached out. He's a freestyle motocross rider. His name was Brody Carmichael, and he fell on a front flip. And, on a motorcycle, there's only 2 people in the world who could do it at the time. And he goes, hey, bro, like, I fell on a front flip. I heard you're really good at what you do, and I'd like to land a front flip and do these other variations. Well, his mental game was strong. And basically all I said is, you could read Zen Athlete. You can go through all these different trainings. All you actually have to do is visualize the trick every single day for about 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, until you know in your body you can do it. When you know that, go do it. And then you go 3 weeks later, he lands a front flip. 3 weeks after that, lands the world's first front flip heel clicker. 3 weeks after that, the world's first front flip freaking Superman on a motorcycle. And I connected with him a few weeks ago, and he hasn't stopped since. He's just like, that's just been the beginning, using the same exact framework each and every time, right? So we are always going to have new goals. We're always going to have new aspirations. So you need to go back into that self-reflection piece, knowing truly who you are. And you could use the quantum heart hypnosis, over and over again. You could use your own journaling techniques over and over again. You'll know when you feel and resonate with that alignment. So it'll start kind of vague, northeast, south, or west. And as you chisel away over time, you're going to refine your direction with each and every step. And then you apply, and your visualization will also give you the energy of your alignment. So as you record your visualization of what you want to create, I'm like, oh, you know what? I should have added this and this and this. And then boom, I steer that visualization because I'm experiencing it now. I'm like, oh, I thought this would have felt better. Oh, you know what? I actually really want this thing. And you refine that visualization. Now, when the energy and the magnetism line up and you're in that space of what you want to create, you're so aligned. And so visualization really also helps as that tool to help refine. And all you need to do is just record what you want. Describe in great detail what it is you want. And if you need to relax, there's a lot of hypnosis scripts online. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Get quiet music, say relax, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever, right? Just try to get yourself in a state of relaxation, and then just like a mental movie, imagine the thing you want to create and see how that feels, and then refine it. And you'll see in a very short time how aligned you can become and how excited you'll be to create that version of yourself.
So good, Matt. I wanna ask, how how do you get into emotionality of it? How do you get into that feeling state? Right, because you mentioned the thoughts send it out. That's the electrical, and then the feelings draw it back. That's the magnetic. So how do we really cultivate and lather the feelings so that we can actually, really begin to draw our dreams back to us, what we've been visualizing?
That is a phenomenal, a very high level question from a man who knows what he's talking about. That is the key, is to get into the emotion of it. It's a very fascinating thing. So one example would be through sports. Anybody listening to this, as long as your body works and you've never snowboarded in your life, if your body basically works and you can kind of squat down and up, if we swapped and I had your consciousness, I could do a backflip on my snowboard over a massive jump using your body, because I know what it feels like. That's the only reason, because I know it's hardwired in my body. Now, the same thing in like kind of the electromagnetic field of where we are, you can hardwire wealth, abundance, success, business, relationships, all these different things, right? We all have our unique life path, so I don't think it's a straight line. But if you want a quality relationship, you can bring that into your. If you want a successful, meaningful business, you can do that. Right? Doesn't mean it's going to happen immediately, but your worthy goal will be different for everybody. Your timeline for success will be different for every single person, right? So matching that is a challenge. So how do we feel into it? There are a few different ways, and you have to figure out for yourself what's going to create the most amount of emotion. So the quality of your visualization, one simple tool that I did for a long time and I do for my athletes is very simple. Brody Carmichael, he described the front flip. I told him record what it's going to feel like, and he walked himself through it. That's it. That's sports performance. Now for your business or your life, walk yourself through it and just describe it in detail and give yourself the suggestion to how do you feel. See if you can get into that feeling and magnify it. And if you do the quantum heart hypnosis, which I'll make available to people who go here, I say magnify that feeling. Just a suggestion to magnify the feeling or focus on it will help you magnify it. So how you describe it in different ways, describe it in different views, have fun with it. The other tool that I like is to do something that I learned at Burning Man, which I called manifestation dancing. And that's like, if you like music, right? I tried this experiment. I had the idea. I'm like, oh man, this is interesting. So I talked to one of my buddies. We're out in Burning Man doing the thing. And I was like, hey buddy, like imagine all your goals right now. I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, what I want you to do, because we're listening to music, I go, I want you to start dancing as if you've achieved everything that you've already wanted in your life. And then his dancing changed. It was amazing. I was like, holy smokes. You can see the visual representation of his inner state of being. And so, you can say, okay, I'm in my house, I'm playing the music that I like. And I'm like, just imagine these goals. My current goals are here right now. Dance and generate the emotion as if they're here right now. And through the body's movement, I've found you can really generate an emotional state. I have a much easier time doing that for myself than sitting in meditation and generating the emotion, because I'm kind of in a relaxed state. You can do that. You can encode the mind. It can be a helpful experience, but just imagining. And Dr. Joe has one where you just walk and you walk into your future and feel that. And that's the idea, is like to use visualization, use the suggestion to feel and experience as if you've had it now. And then at the end, you let it go. You know what I mean? The result is never up to you. All you can do is do your best, right? Teach a kid in sport, they're in a competition. All that's required is you do your best. Let go of the result, because you're still whole and beautiful and perfect as you are. Just do your best. And so if we can apply those simple principles, we're going to do really well. And I just say to people, just make guided recordings for yourself and get better at describing what the experience is going to like. And if you want to try some manifestation dancing, get some music you like. Just imagine everything that you wanted is here now. Feel what it is, and just dance as if you have it. And as I experimented through Burning Man that year, it was hilarious, because every single time I could watch the person's body really move into it, really generate, really match that emotion, really match the frequency. So I feel like that's it. No one ever talks about that. And I talked about it years ago. As far as what I've seen for doing this, I haven't seen anything better than that, because I'm witnessing it. I'm like, you can see it in the person's movement. And I feel like we can really match the emotion that way.
Mm, I love that you mentioned the physicality, because you and I are both really physical guys, and that's what embodiment is, right? And I've been bringing my air and my manifestation practice into the gym with me. So instead of just like counting reps or tempo or anything like that, actually praying, I'm visualizing, I'm actually, and to me, like, I'm at one of my most passionate states when I'm in the gym. Like, the blood is pumping and I'm invigorated. I'm present. Able to take that mental game, that realization, emotionality of prayer into the gym with me. I mean, I've had sessions that I've come out and I'm in tears, right? And it's like, that's not a typical reaction after a weightlifting session. So it changes the entire session and rewires the brain in the process, and of course to really magnetize whatever that visualization is to you. So really, really powerful. I want to ask you, man, what does peak performance mean to you?
That's interesting. I don't know if anyone's ever asked me that. I think for me, it's getting clear on what's most important to you, because they can say peak performance, right? And you achieve this goal and it's not what you actually want, then who gives a crap? Especially you. It has to be meaningful to you. So peak
Mhm.
performance would be number one, identifying what's actually most meaningful to you beyond the ego. What's genuinely what's most important. Then the performance side for peak performance would be, have you created a plan that's reasonably effective for where you are now? And are you diligently working towards it each and every day? And are you doing it from a focused, empowered state? So we would know training like, oh, okay, I want to create this. Well, is your mind wandering? Are you on Instagram, or do you give a shit? Or are you fully engaged and immersed in the process? So that's what it would come down to for me, is like, what's the plan that you can make?
Mm.
How diligently can you work towards it? And how much are you enjoying the process? And one example, I interviewed Stephen Kotler a few times and interviewed him again recently. He's probably the most well-known guy in the world on flow state and peak performance. New York Times best-selling author, a flow genome project, has the most documented science and team around understanding flow state. And when he talks about it, he's like, you know what? It's a day well performed, where what he does is he figures out what he wants, the highest version of himself, right? Let's say he's gone through all that process. Then on Sunday, he makes a plan for the week, right? And so when he gets up, he works for the boss, his higher self. And he goes from task to task with limited, I'll say, effery, limited messing around on getting it all done, because he's working for the boss, that vision of himself. And he goes from task to task with no missed time, right? Boom, 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 boom. It's a day well executed in alignment with who you truly are. I don't see it being better than that. And from what he said, I'm like 1/10 of that. That's amazing. And what I learned from martial arts too, one of the boxing coaches I have, he'd always be about the speed of transition between your workout, right? Push-ups to sit-ups to burpees or whatever. That was the key.
Mm.
That's really the defining process. So over time, you might be sloppy. You might get 15 minutes a day on that start. And then it goes to 2 15-minute tasks, and then an hour, and then back to back. And you're going to grow, you're going to evolve. If you've never been to the gym before, you're not going to know really what you're doing. Over a year or two, you're going to be a wizard, like everything. So you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to go all in. There's that quote by Jerry Seinfeld, or the idea, I think it's out there, but it's basically, you'd rather do like one joke every day rather than 30 jokes on one day throughout the day. That little chipping away, it's the consistency, just a little drop of water, boop, boop, that can break stone and mountains and rocks. It's just unbelievable what that consistency can do. And then over time, you're going to get much better at creating an entire life around it, where you're working for your higher self, the best version of yourself that wants what's best for you. And then you engage in each of that process, right? In boxing and martial arts, nobody really wants to run miles, 10 miles at 4 a.m., but they do it because they're working for the championship version of themselves. And that's where the dedication and the discipline come in. So that's my perspective on that. Great question.
Yeah, I love that, man. Thank you so much. So Matt, I know we could probably continue this conversation pretty much all day, and I know we both love this stuff and give service to others, but are at time. So I would love to hear how we can connect with you. How anything that you're up to in the world. I know you're coaching. You've got the book and all that sort of thing. So please share what you're up to in the world and how people can connect.
Well, I appreciate the time and I appreciate everybody listening to this. So if they want to check some of my work out, go to mattbelair.com. You'll find the podcast with over 600 episodes. I guarantee there's one for you in there. Hopefully you enjoy it. There's also Zen Athlete program, which you can apply for anything. So I focused on athletics, but it could be Zen music, Zen business, and entrepreneurship. And there's really the keys distilled of peak performance, and utilize like the quantum heart hypnosis, just getting clear with basic visualization techniques. And just to understand why they work and how they work, you're going to be in a much more empowered state. So those are two very powerful tools. And the podcast is a phenomenal resource. So just go to my website, sign up for the email list if you want. There's also Telegram. There's a lot of censorship going on, so Telegram still seems to be handy. And just reach out, matt@zenathlete.com. If you have any questions, if I can support you, I'd be happy to get back to you.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Super grateful for you for everything that you're doing in the world to support others in their journey. And as always, it's an honor to be able to connect with you and just share the space and share your genius. So thank you.
I appreciate it, brother. Right back at you. Thank you.